Hey,
Hello, hello. How's everybody? It's always so strange to be talking to nobody in the beginning.
it's okay. Let's talk to ourselves.
So, how you feeling today?
I am under the weather a little bit. Been working a lot, kind of behind projects and stuff. So,
Mm,
a little stressed and not really focused. But I wanted to
okay.
keep this work going.
Yes, yes.
How are you
We've
feeling?
been getting a lot of feedback since the last live, and
Hmm.
it's great because it's good to hear that things we're talking about are things people want to hear, and they're interested in hearing more. So we're excited. So I'm excited. I know Roy is too, even though he's a little under the weather. To keep talking about these things and trying to answer more questions and give people more ideas.
But it's also a good point in terms of like working while trying to do a bunch of stuff during this pandemic. I think just want to give a shout out to people out there who are having a hard time.
Yes.
It's hard. We feel you.
Mm.
And we'll get through this together.
Yeah,
It's real.
it
A
is.
lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. Whew, okay. So we wanted to start off this live addressing homeschooling pods because we've been hearing so much about them, and we wanted to talk about just any way we could support families that are working to try to create something that like a small group learning group for their kids during this crazy new shift in learning time. So Roy, do you want to start or do you want me to start?
Can you start? What are we starting? I'm sorry.
Sure,
I'm
sure.
trying. I'm trying to get this.
Oh yeah,
I wanna-
you're working the back stuff too, so
yeah,
on
I'm
top of
trying
it.
making
So
sure we get the comments because last time the comments was an issue,
yeah,
and so this time I'm trying to just kind of keep an eye on that.
make sure. Okay, sounds good. So I can start. Well, the first time I heard that term homeschooling pod was in a Facebook post that had kind of gone viral. And I think it was a woman from San Francisco or the Bay Area, actually, who was talking about it and saying how this is what a lot of families are doing. And she also voiced concern. Well, first she said it was a group of small group of families who were potting together germ wise. So like agreeing not to see other people, just staying together so that their kids could learn together, and that a lot of people were hiring a mentor or a teacher to kind of lead the group because most of these parents are working full time and can't, be too much involved in the learning. And then she also addressed the fact that there are parents who can't afford to hire people, and what were they going to do? And she was concerned about that. So we wanted to just kind of jump in and give a little bit of feedback from our experience, which is a little different. Obviously, it wasn't during a pandemic, and we didn't necessarily hire people, although sometimes, can't remember exactly, but I think sometimes here and there people did that we knew for maybe like a short session, like a Lego thing or something, or a few different classes, a short session. But mostly we did co-ops where I think we mentioned this a little bit in the last live, where we would have a small group of like 3 or 4 families, and we would get together weekly and sharing different people's homes. So, I mean, a lot of people are familiar with co-ops in general for preschool age and for other kinds of things besides education, obviously. But yeah, so each parent offered what they could, what they felt they knew something about, or what they were excited to learn together with the kids, or what the kids were interested in. And we would rotate, and it was really, really great. I mean, it was a nice small group, more intimate group, and the kids got to see each other regularly and build connection and relationship. And we had an amazing, diverse array of awesome parents and subjects that we did. So it was really good. Ours lasted for about 2 years, I think. And
Yeah,
then it kind of
and
broke
we
apart
made
for
some
2
great
reasons.
friends from that
Yeah.
experience. Like it's typical, right? To
Mhm.
meet people and go to have a school experience with your kids. But I think it's a great opportunity to kind of, even if you're trying to do a curriculum, or school, a curriculum or a program that the school is offering, it's a great opportunity to take this. Well, it's a great opportunity to reinvent the situation. Like
Mhm.
you're really in control. into some degree, you can change things up, and don't be afraid to play with what you think that what school can look like or education can look like for your kid.
Right. Really quick, I just wanted to add that. So if parents who are thinking, or people who are thinking, what about parents who have to work and they can't participate? Well, maybe somebody like an older sibling or a niece or a nephew, or just a young person that's in your life that has a little bit of extra time because they're in college and they have some flexibility. They could come in. Maybe you pool together your funds between 3 or 4 families and give them a little something, or barter, or do things at different times of the day if your schedules are at all flexible, if your work schedule's flexible, stuff like that. So there are ways to do it without having money. A lot of money, I should say. And so, yeah, you have to be creative, but definitely there are ways. And if you connect with other families, that maybe 1 or 2 families that do have more flexible schedules, and they can take a little bit more of a lift on certain things. And I don't know, there's just ways. You got to reach out to your community, though. I mean, I think it's a really good opportunity to reach out. And I know people are already doing that. So,
yeah, the other thing is, we got to keep in mind those families who are kind of don't have the same resources, and what's going on with them. I had a conversation with a colleague around this, and there's some really crazy stories coming out, and so it's definitely not ideal situation. And so I don't have an answer to that, except maybe I guess I'm doing that in terms of that conversation I had. We're trying to figure out how to reach those folks, but it's through the community colleges type stuff. But just keep in mind of that situation, and and how do you address that? I mean, we're thinking maybe getting, if if you're a champion in those communities, to kind of help organize those families. I'm thinking of Jorge Lenma, who's running for, I think, a counselor or something in Oakland. He's been a big champion in the community. I want to work with him on some things too. If you're out there, Jorge, I'm thinking of you. But it's not all peaches and cream, and it's really a tough situation. But with that said, what can you do with your kid? And
I mean, to reach out to extended family and community, because this is a time more than ever that, even though we have to be somewhat socially distanced, but if you can identify people that want the same things as you, or have similar aged kids, or have extra time and can, willing to pod with you, there are solutions we can always make with community. That's always what everyone's always done, right? In hard times is leaned on community. So if that's at all possible, that can really help with these kind of situations.
Yeah, I hope the hub will kind of help with some of those folks that might need more resources, like champions and leaders of the community who might want to help those situations and don't have the resources, or
don't know how to connect with people. It's kind of a space for people to come and all kind of congregate together and share needs, and like, I can help, or I need this, or what do you think, and share ideas and spread the word out to people, for other people. And we're going to try to bring people on to talk about things too, which will create a lot more ideas and solutions and kind of bigger picture stuff.
I hear our chimes in the backyard.
Do you?
Yeah. It's funny. But yeah, so hopefully, again, we don't have all the answers, but we're trying to create space for where the community can come, leaders can come and create answers, or offer answers, or share, or kind of help strategize these issues.
Yeah. And one more thing, to just kind of divert it a little bit, is about the homeschooling pods and any other kind of cooperative situation you might set up, is to remember that you don't have to stay super strict on like grade standards and kind of school at home style. I mean, obviously at this point, anyone who's listening knows that we're not big fans of that kind of conventional style of learning. But really it is an opportunity to let the kids lead a little bit in terms of their interests. And you just see that it will be so much more exciting for them. They'll learn more, and everyone will have a better time. So don't be afraid to like loosen that up a little bit. especially with younger kids, and give them a chance to really play and really, get excited about what they're doing.
Yeah, let them play, because that kind of leads to, like, all of us, even as an adult, if you can still play, it kind of shed light on your interest.
Yeah. And that kind of segues perfectly into the other thing we wanted to touch on today, which was different ways to facilitate interest-led learning. Because we've been getting feedback about wanting to hear more specifics, like examples of things that we've done and that people we know have done, and things we've read about and over the years. So there's a few main things, kind of keywords or key things to think about when you're thinking about creating an environment for interest-led learning. First of all, you're letting your kids lead the way in terms of their excitement and their joy, right? So you're looking for them points when their eyes are lighting up, their body language is fully engaged, they're excited. And to find those moments, if they're not doing that already with something, there's some things you can do. So one is turning everything into a game. Roy has coined the term gamify it. So
no, I didn't coin it.
You didn't? I've never heard it anywhere else.
Really?
Yeah.
I know Samantha Cook.
Someone calls it game schooling.
Project-based learning.
People call it game schooling, but I've never heard gamify anywhere else.
Samantha Cook.
I could be wrong. Okay, I could be wrong.
Or she does like project-based learning. Shout out to Samantha Cook.
Yes.
Yeah.
Big time leader in this world.
Yeah.
Awesome woman.
But no, I didn't start that.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Well, not the concept, but the word.
I barely start anything. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
I start a lot of arguments.
turning things into games. So I can give you an example of something that Roy created at our house, which was we wanted the kids to do more writing. And so he was trying to make it more fun. So he thought of an idea to just take, one of those little timers, a sand timer turners, and said, okay, everybody get paper and pencil. We're all going to sit around at the table, and even the adults, everybody's participating. And I'm going to turn it over. It gives us, I think, 60 seconds. And I think we eventually extended it to twice. So 2 minutes. Write anything that comes to your mind. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be cursing. It can be funny. It can be dark. It can be like total nonsensical. But just go and just write until the timer runs out. So we would do that. And then the kids a lot of times wanted a winner, wanted someone to be a judge and have a winner. But it was great to see what came out. Okay. That's a debatable comment. So yeah, it was fun. It was all sorts of different creative things.
Is it really debatable?
Yes, it's definitely debatable. Definitely.
Yeah, that's true.
If we had the kids here right now, we would have a lot of arguments against
I like debate. It's critical thinking. It's good to debate, having two opposing perspectives.
Very true.
We need that.
True. Yes. Indeed.
Sorry, I'm like totally taking.
It's all good. This is our conversation with R&D. So no, that's the neighbor's dog. Sorry, you guys.
Oh, wow.
I'm in the backyard. So games, that's just one example. I'm sure other people, if anyone else is on here who's a homeschooler or homeschool family, please feel free to jump on and share anything that you guys have done, games that you've made up or favorite games that you guys have in the comments.
We used to do instrumental beats and do freestyle.
Yes, we did that for a while. That was really fun. We I think it was Pandora has a channel that's all like hip hop instrumentals.
Yeah.
So and they're really awesome beats.
Which seems like some people on here might be like, I do that, whatever, but that's kind of educational and
it is
wordsmith, yeah. And then kind of writing that down, and
I think I won that once. I recall
I think you had a good flow. Yeah, I think one time
I came up with some really nice bars.
But then writing it down, and there's like curriculums around this stuff too. Like there's a whole around studying hip hop and using hip hop as a vehicle for academics and education, which it always was, but just kind of if you want to make it even more pronounced. Mm-hmm. But the dog sounds like it's right next to you.
Should I move?
No, it's all good. It's what it is.
It's real life, you guys. Okay, so the other thing, so gamifying things is one. Strewing, which I think that term originates from Montessori methods. I think it's where they put them, and my mom taught Montessori preschool from our house when we were growing up in Oakland. So I think I remember it from that, but I was pretty young. But she would set up these beautiful little like sections of the space, and they were always so inviting. You know, there was beautiful like wooden things and like art and stuff, and it was really inviting. So strewing, you can do that with things like that, or you can bring like a little nature set up, and and have you talk about like different rocks or feathers or flowers or something. And then
the dog's too loud. I think so.
Can you think people can't hear me?
It's just distracting, and also the chimes.
Oh my goodness! Are you sure it's not just you? So
let me see if I can help with the chimes. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Keep talking.
Okay. So, but another way to strew is to bring things into their world. So whether it's bringing them to live music events or cultural events or art shows or museums or taking them into nature, you're strewing in the sense that you're kind of being a co-pilot. You're bringing them, exposing them to different things intentionally. And then again, when you see them light up, you know that that's working, that they're engaged and they're excited, and then you kind of run with it or let them run with it. And then sometimes they will continue like with conversations afterwards and ask you questions. And then if they're older, they can even do their own research. Or if they keep asking you, then go to the library and get a book about it, and stuff like that. So just kind of flow with it based on that when you see their interest sparked. And then of course, the good old fashioned modeling, which we all do as parents, whether we like it or not, because kids will do what you do, not what you say for the most part. And so if you're modeling having hobbies yourself or being passionate about doing a passion project or, gardening or whatever it is, your kids will, for the most part, imitate you to a certain extent. I mean, maybe they won't. Maybe there'll be something they just absolutely are not into. But a lot of times they will. And so modeling your own interests is a great way to kind of spark their curiosity and get them inspired.
Hey, Daryl, were there any curriculums that you really enjoyed? I'm interested in hearing your ideas around that or your experience with curriculums. Or what do you know?
I never really hooked on to a curriculum. I did get workbooks, various different workbooks over the years, things that I had heard from other parents that worked for their kids. And for the most part, our kids did a little bit of workbook stuff, but never really fully. And they would start and then it kind of just taper off and it'd be unengaged. So
right.
I don't have a lot of personal experience, although I know a little bit about some of the basic curriculums, and that's actually something that's going to be in the site. One of the themes is different styles of homeschooling and home learning, and we're going to have monthly themes at our parade at the site, and then each week in that month is a sub theme. So, for example, one theme is learning styles, home learning styles, and then curriculums is one of the week. So we'll be going over different curriculums. I'll be giving resources, asking questions, and then we'll have discussions and Zoom meetups where other families can share what they've done and what the curriculums they like, and people can ask questions who are looking for curriculums. So, so that's one of the themes that we'll be offering.
What's up, people? We're just sharing our experiences with homeschooling. We're talking about pods, things to do with your kids, right? Little ones, we're talking about strewing.
And older ones. When you got up, I was explaining how you can do it for older kids too, with experiences and things.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah. If you have a question, leave it in the comments. We're trying to, or if you have a comment, you can also leave a comment in the comments section. Doesn't have to be a question.
Mm-hmm.
And my energy is low today.
Oh, you know what I wanted to talk about was another one besides gamifying, strewing, and is asking questions, and this is something that I also had to learn because I was a very kind of traditional thinker in terms of education when we first started out, and I was just wanting to give them answers to their questions. Like, ask a question, I give them the answer, and sometimes that's necessary, but it's much better usually, and you spark more engagement and more learning if you return a question with another question and kind of let them work it out in their head, and it sparks a deeper discussion. So you can drop little gems along the way, but kind of really let them work it out and work through it, and not be afraid to not know the answer to something. That's part of the process. So yeah, that's another thing that we've done a lot of.
I just kind of Googled pod schooling. Should I show you the results?
Pod school. Oh, is it pod schooling or homeschooling pods? Pod schooling. I think you're right. I think it is pod schooling. I might have been saying the wrong term.
I don't know. I put an S at the end to give different results. Pods. Anyway, so here's some of the results.
Is anybody here? If so, leave a comment. Just say, you don't even have to say anything if you guys just want to listen and not talk, but just let us know you're here by like saying hi or just dropping a 1 in the comment section so we kind of know.
It tells me there's 7 people, but it doesn't tell me.
Okay. And of course, feel free to ask questions at any point. Even if it's doesn't have to do with what we're talking about.
Pods. There's all these questions around pods. This is just.
You just Googled it?
Googled and hit news, just kind of the most current stuff.
Okay. Pandemic pods. Okay.
Yeah. Private school pods are coming. They'll worsen inequities. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's just what we're talking about earlier. Mm-hmm.
Math games are another big topic. We've done a lot of different things over the years, but a big popular one for a long time at our house was Yahtzee. I'm sure most people are familiar with that game, but that was really good for learning math, like simple.
Someone's banging over there.
Sorry, that was me. You can hear that?
Yeah.
I'm hitting my shoe against I'm doing like a nervous knock.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Yeah, no, Yahtzee is great, and I'm sure we played Blockus. That was another big hit, and we actually learned about the game Blockus from this woman. What's her name? Sue Van Hatten, I think. She was a homeschool mom, and she taught math at the college level, and she used to hold these things called math salons, I think once a month on a Saturday, and she invited everyone into her house, and she had like games out and like books about math, like from kids' books to adults. And she talked to us about math trauma for adults and how to kind of get past that and to really make math fun when kids were younger. Don't put pressure on them around math, and that they would come to it when they were ready in terms of a more structured math. Yeah.
That was cool.
That was really beneficial.
Patrick here.
Nice. So. Hello, you guys. Thanks for joining us.
Patrick says, "Hi, I'm here."
Hi, Patrick.
And Ball, did you see Ball's comment?
Yes, Ball says, "Hey peeps, such good timing to be holding these chats. About to start traditional schooling." All right. Yeah, I think a lot of people are. Some people have started school already.
Can you see a comment?
Oh, yes. And she says, Ball says, "And we'll be distance learning and only a few hours a day, trying to figure out how to add to what the kids are learning and take advantage of this time to let the kids lead. So many choices out there." Yes. Yes. There are a lot of choices. Yeah, I know. It can be a little overwhelming sometimes.
Continues and have this feel.
Oh, and have this feel, sorry. And have this feel that it would be good to have something that is year-long to build on and not just short-term. Any advice on how to have the kids choose? Do you mean like a supplemental learning and something that would last the whole year? Is that what you mean, Imbal? Not sure about all year. We've never really been good with continuing the same thing for long periods of time. We're very much jump around.
They'll keep the interest. They'll keep interest for a long time.
But in terms of the mediums or the activities,
yeah, that's a good.
They tend to change with the semester, I would say.
Theater has been consistent.
Which one? Theater, right?
Sports.
Yes, theater, sports,
soccer, those things.
Yeah.
Taking music classes.
Yes.
There's a few things.
Acrobatics, dance, yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah, supplemental and rich and deep and inspiring.
Does it have to be all year? But it doesn't have to be all year.
Language,
But I
yeah.
think of language, for example.
I mean, I think goal setting is important. We do goal setting in the beginning of the year with the kids. We do like an orientation, and we make it really fun. We like get like nice food. We make a big meal, or we order food, and we have like a fun, like almost a little mini retreat for the day. And we talk about, each kid gets to go and talk about what are planning, what they feel they need to work on, what they're excited to work on, and we write it all down, capture it, and it kind of sets the tone for the semester, so that they feel like they have a little bit of a direction, and they can change. If they change their mind on something, that's totally fine. But it kind of gives a good little structure to set up.
Right. And Ball, do you mean language? You mean like learning languages, like foreign languages or whatever?
Okay, I'm back.
What happened there?
I'm such a like Jewish Italian. I like pulled the thing right out of with my hand movement. I pulled it right out of my headphones. Sorry, guys. Yeah. What was I saying?
She was asking about languages, and you were talking about the orientations.
Yeah. So it sets the tone for the year, right? So that's, I mean, I'm not sure exactly what resource. I can look into that and get back to you. I mean, there's Masterclass, which is a kind of a little bit of a longer curriculum, and there's other things. Like, I can't think of anything else right now specifically. I think that a lot of people are doing OutSchool, and those are usually shorter, but some of them are longer. I don't know. I haven't really looked on there recently, so I don't know all the options. But I think lots of people are using OutSchool. Lyris has done Quantum Camp in the past, which was, I think it was either semester or trimester, and they're going virtual. So they have options. I don't know. There's some.
And Ball's cracking up at us. She said we can take this on the road.
Oh goodness! Well, I'm glad it's entertaining.
Well, it's globally right now. I mean, to a certain extent.
Yeah, we're global already, man.
Right there.
Do we want to give a little peek into the site?
Hey, folks! If you're just joining us, we're just kind of sharing our homeschool experiences, talking about the hub we want to start, and sharing and answering any questions you might have around homeschooling. We talked about pod schooling, what that means in our perspective to a certain extent, some practices, and leave a comment, say hi.
Yeah, say hi in the comments, even if you don't want to talk to us, just so we know people who's here. Oh, and Ball says, I like the idea of a planning meeting at the beginning where everyone says their piece. Peace and peace.
Yeah, so what we do is we start the semester with like a goal setting, like Dara was saying, and then at the end, did you talk about the end?
No.
At the end of the semester, we kind of have a closing and kind of look at that same list. We take pictures of their list, and at orientation, they kind of set up their schedule, their calendars, and we go through the whole process that week of registering to their classes that they've chosen or whatever they want to do, setting up all that. And then at the end of the semester, we kind of do an assessment of how they think they did, and
end of the year wrap up.
What were the challenges? Back. Like why, sometimes they had a goal and didn't really start it, and it's already the semester.
It happens.
Like what happened there? And they're like, oh, this and that, or I got into this more, which I think is a great way to like kind of have that mental circle closure.
Yeah, and they're also learning about things that they're doing. It's not nobody's no harsh judgments about it, but they're kind of seeing their behavior. Hi, Sibylla, long time. Thanks for joining.
Hey, Dara, can you see the comments there? If you click on comments,
yes.
So you can
sorry, I did that again.
That's fine. We're learning.
I'm very low by.
Do you want to talk about the hub and what you're trying to do with this hub?
Sure. Do we want to give it a little peek inside?
If you want, yeah.
Sure. So we wanted to give a little peek for people to get a little bit of a taste of what the hub looks like, what it's going to be.
You tell me where to go. But should I look at where is this? One second. Keep talking.
Okay.
So I think
So yeah, for anyone who wasn't here before, hasn't heard yet, the hub, we created a virtual home learning resource and community hub. And it is for every kind of home learner, for people who are in school, who are looking for supplementing with joyous, fun, engaging learning materials, and being part of a community where other parents are also doing that for their kids. So everyone is welcome, and I think there's should be something for everybody there. It's also for educators who are looking to expand the way they teach and to be able to teach more freely in whatever their genius and joy is, and kind of get connected with other people. It's not just local. It's we're reaching out to people all over the country and hopefully at some point even globally. And we're working with Catherine Fraze of Workspace Education. She's a big time leader in co-learning and homeschooling. She had a physical space in Connecticut that she's now gone virtual with, and she, along with her team, are helping people all over the country and in other countries create spaces like this virtually for now, and hopefully physically in the future for their areas. So really exciting
that was the
stuff.
initial impulse for a lot of this work. Is kind of
Yeah.
one of the challenges of living like this self-directed homeschool stuff is we have to piecemeal different spaces and collaborate with other families in their homes, which is awesome. But one of the things we kind of miss from the conventional schooling is that physical space where you can put labs and convene and have all these resources there. And so we initially wanted to start a physical hub, but here in the Bay Area it's so expensive. So how do you do that
Right.
without charging crazy tuition?
Right.
Because you can do it, but you have to, then it's just like a high
Overhead. Yeah.
overhead. But Kath was able to create one of these in Bethel, Connecticut, which is an amazing space. I wish I could show that, but maybe another time. I don't know.
Yeah.
How do you get to the home page, to the landing page? I forgot how you get there through my account.
You have to go to incognito tab.
No, well, not that. How about through when you want to edit?
Oh, okay. So go to, I'm forgetting.
It's cool. Could I just go straight into the thing?
Go to profile and then network settings.
Profile and then network settings, and then what?
And then
you can actually share
Mighty network, Mighty checklist, I think. And then landing page.
Okay. Can you share your screen, or do you want me just to navigate that?
Are you already there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't trust my tech skills at all.
Why?
I'm just a little bumbly with my tech stuff still.
Okay,
I'm getting there.
It's landing page after that?
Yeah.
I don't see that. See the checklist before you start. I got it. Okay. So this is kind of like the editor's version, but let's show this.
Right. Okay.
This is
so
the home.
This is the landing page. This is what if you go to www.ourparade.com, this is what you'll see. And we talk a little bit about what we're trying to do with this space and who we are and what you can expect in the space, which is, community, like-minded community, all types of families, resources, curated resources that I've accumulated over years of not only our family, but other families recommending things and finding things that really work and that are really quality, things that are free. There's tons of free resources that are quality. And then as people join and the community grows, everyone can contribute with their resources and their experiences and everything. So it's going to be as amazing as the people who join. So we're encouraging people, if they feel that this is something that be helpful for their families, to come join. And we are trying to grow this. We're also going to have regular lives that we do, as well as bring on speakers for interviews, for inspiration and more information, leaders of local leaders and national leaders, hopefully. What else? Workshops to help families get started. weekly discussions and themes, like I was saying before, around different topics.
Should I jump in?
Sure.
In space. Okay.
Go to Discovery. Are you in Discovery? Okay, so this is the Discovery page. So we've got your welcome, and then we've got featured articles. So we have a getting started guide. I have an education survey for people who are just starting out to kind of get their bearings about what they want and where they want to go with their kids. We've got a deschooling article talking about deschooling, which is a big topic for people who are just coming out of the school system. And then you can jump to topics, Roy. And then we've got our topics. Try to cover a lot of different topics that are, speaking to people. We're going to have a big part of this is that we want families who want to lead their own classes, or team up with other parents to lead classes that are specifically for things their kids are interested or things that they are passionate about. And so we'll have a list of community member led classes, which will be probably on Zoom for now, but hopefully eventually will be in person. In different spaces. We're going to have all of our lives right there, recorded lives, all the different homeschool conferences and educational conferences, and then where you can jump into rooms.
We also want to do some workshops with, reach out to some thought leaders, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, I think I mentioned that. And then here are the rooms, and the rooms are kind of a little bit more collaborative areas. Sharing inspiration, sharing our stories and educational journeys and how do we get to this point. Book lists, games that we recommend for each other.
And this is a space where members can add their own things, right? And create spaces.
Yes, this is the collaborative spaces, yes. Upskilling for parents. So if parents want to learn and there's other parents that want to offer something, or you guys or other people get together and they want to learn something together as a parent group, we will have stuff like that, options for that. There's a hangout for parents. We could even, plan to have, weekly or monthly get-togethers on Zoom. It's just kind of a social thing to connect with other families, sharing skills and hiring each other or bartering skills with each other, and other home learning groups around the country. So if you have a cousin or a sibling in another country, in another state, and they're looking for something, we'll have it listed by state so they can help them find similar types of places locally in their area.
Should I click on one of these?
Sure. You want to click on co-create? So once you go into a room, there's going to be a whole nother set here on the sidebar. So it has its own set of topics. So then you click on topics in here, and then these are just different areas of where people can co-create together. So if you have a specific thing, you're like, I want to create a math club with another mom or another parent, and you do that, then you list it under math. So if you're looking for something in a particular subject or particular area, you can go right to the subject and click on that, and you can find it pretty easily. So yeah, it's kind of a delicious space just waiting to get filled with amazing parents and families and ideas and energy. So we're really, really excited about this.
So it has so Discover and everything else is in there too.
Yeah, it has its own sidebar.
Okay.
Each room.
Activity feed, that's people, and we're part of a mighty network for founders or people who are building these things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been pretty dynamic once people get in and start to share.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
What else?
I think that's probably it for now. Well, you can put in your interest, and then it connects you to other parents who have similar interests. So that's a way to find people that are, have similar.
And why not just start a Facebook group, like a Facebook group?
Well, we can list events here. It's all in one place, so it's a place to everyone can post. Like everyone's is able to post and connect and share, and we're going to have questionnaires, and we're going to have question of the week, and we're going to have weekly Zoom get-togethers, as well as whatever other parents and families want to create. So it's really the platform to me is really much more dynamic than a Facebook group or a listserv group. It's just much more.
That's
You can
us.
really create community. You can really create community here. So more than those other spaces. I'm excited about it. We'll see. It's a big experiment, and I'm hoping that it will be helpful for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, already we've been helping families with, calls and stuff like that. So I mean, it's just trying to create more space for that. I feel that
Yeah.
this stuff is needed, and hopefully it leads to a physical space, which is
Right.
would be awesome. And
Yes.
then, you know, getting that whole. I think that's the future of schools in a sense is spaces, physical spaces, and again, I think virtual spaces are part of that as well. But physical spaces, like imagine the schools being more open, more like a community college. I'm talking about K-12 system. If you didn't even need to go that far, but like because I kind of believe we're in school too long. Like Finland, for example, starts at 8, ends at 16, and then when they finish at 16, it's equivalent to an AA, and they're high performing schools there, and they have a
Yeah.
lot of freedom for their students. They're homogeneous and small, but I think you can still capture the essence of what their practice is. They have looping. They start. They actually do kind of a homeschooling type of method from when till they're 8 years old, where they even pay single moms or families that need the support to kind of
Be able
study,
to do it.
be
Yeah.
able to do it. You have a strong, when traditionally you have a strong family centered culture.
And if you break our United States down to smaller local groups and communities, you can make stuff like that happen. It's just when it gets too big, sometimes it's harder to do that.
Right, that's a good point because I think the tech ed, ed tech, whatever it is, they're trying to like create the platform that's gonna say, be the new school. But I think they can. I don't think they can ever do it. The best they can do is create better platforms for people to connect,
Hmm.
and the actual work has to give. It's what did Thomas say? It's like the age of the parent again. Like the
Hmm.
parents and families have to take over again, and I think that's true. I think it needs to be family based, community based again, and for families that are not that healthy, I think if we have healthier families around them and more community, empowered community, that those I think that those issues will kind of be more. I don't think they ever go away. I'm not sure, but they'll be addressed more.
Hmm.
Like it will have more resources and it reflects people's
Right.
experiences more.
Right.
But I think the future of schools is something like that. What do you think about the future of schools? What do you think they look like?
Are you asking me or people watching?
People watching you. I don't know if we put them to sleep. If you're sleeping at
um,
night, have a
it's too
good.
hot today, and people are probably out like getting wet somewhere, getting
That's
cooled down
true
somewhere.
because I was about to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. We might do that after this. Go take a bike ride, get some fresh air. I think the future of schools is going to be different. I think this shift is changing everything, and I think that people are starting to realize more and more that what's not working for them is doesn't have they don't have to stay in it. That they have choices. I mean, I think that's the biggest takeaway is that if the school system that your kids are in or if the situation they're in is not working for them, that you have choices and you can do something different. And even if you're working, there are ways to make it work, whatever that looks like. We have to get creative as parents, and we have to reach out to community, um, and yeah, I think
I
it's
would
going to
love.
change.
I love the community college model where you kind of take courses. Some people push back on that because there's a lot of what they call wandering, like people never leave because they're kind of. But I understand that, and there's some pathways being developed now so that there's more stronger pathways for
Oh, I see what
students
you're saying.
to
Yeah.
get in, get out.
Hmm.
But I do like the wandering. You got the lifelong learners in the community colleges. You have people coming from all over. Something you don't get at a 4 year
Hmm.
institution. Usually, at a 4 year institution, you get a certain demographic, a certain income level, dominating. And so, community colleges is a beautiful space in terms of learning.
Yeah.
I know the first cohort I taught in woodwork in the wood technology program at Laney College, it was like a retired firefighter, someone was coming off a addiction, someone who dropped out or dropped in, dropped out of high school, someone coming from Stanford, called reverse transfers, someone who came from Stanford who kind of wanted to change their career. We had this 38 African American man who was in gaming, and he retired early, 38 years old, and they were all there. This is the class. In that class, in the name of woodworking, I love stuff like that when it's more open. I look at like youth centers or community centers as kind of a space that can be more educational or have higher rigor in terms of, not rigor in terms of what we see the current school model doing, but more what we're talking about, kind of self-directed pathways into different spaces of mastery. Like if we can just use the laboratory or the labs in the local schools, or their gymnasium or their pools, whatever. I think that's the future of schools. I don't know how far along till we get there, but Ben Boss says, "Oh yeah, it's time for change."
Yes.
Big change.
In lots of ways. Feels good to have this time to think about what that change will be. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I would love a school system, a public school system that kind of allowed you to manifest your best self, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially for communities who there's a lot of bias against in the system.
Yes.
There's just this. That's what education is about. It's about finding yourself, finding your passions, creating yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I know my identity is interesting in terms like I was, born to Puerto Rican parents, living in New Jersey, North New Jersey, urban America, in the 70s and 80s. But my identity came, one of my strongest identity is as a maker, as a woodworker. And that's something I chose and something that is me as well. And my schools, I don't think my high school didn't have a shop because at that time they got rid of shops. My elementary school didn't have that stuff. Like I got it from my dad who was working in down our house and doing things, and I would do projects with him, and I really loved tools and making things. And but if I had kind of a track or some serious space for that, I think when I got that earlier, I would have appreciated that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They always cut the vocations and arts, whatever. Yeah.
But making is become huge now. It's really, really growing. And
yeah. But my point is education should be tied to your identity, both culturally and also your pursuits, your passions, and to discover those things and to kind of build on those things. And that's what my education currently is as a 45-year-old dude. I'm always trying to create what am I interested in now and what I want to learn. This technology around lives are super fun. Anyway, so you want to kind of, that's my opinion. You can disagree with me, I guess.
I don't disagree.
I wouldn't be mad at you if you did. Maybe a little bit.
Well,
a little bit.
Like you said, disagreement and debate is good. Let's keep that alive.
A tiny bit. We should bring more people on here. We should have a guest next time.
Yeah, maybe. That's a good idea.
Who should be our first victim? We should think about that. What do we have, a week? Are we trying to do this once a week?
I think so. That's the plan. If people want it, then we're here to chat and tell all of our opinions and experiences.
Well, you're a wealth of information, and the people we know are people, the veterans out there who have been championing this stuff, and they're out there. A lot of them have older kids.
To be honest, the thing I'm really, really excited about, well, I have to say both things, but I'm really excited about the community coming into the hub and just being so powerful. Just all of the energy, all of the experiences, just all in one space. I can't wait. And then I'm also equally as excited to have new families come in and learn and grow and share their experiences and what they need and what they're looking for. I'm just super, super excited for everything.
Right. Are you scared that there's going to be conflict or anything? You're not worried about that stuff?
No, not really. I mean, people who are coming in there are looking to connect and commune together around this kind of stuff. Everyone is looking forward. They're like forward looking to help and to learn and to grow. So, I mean, you know,
What
yeah.
I love about the virtual stuff, which I was not a big fan of, I admit, right? Because I'm hands-on maker, like virtual. What are you talking about? Like
Right.
another Google search, whatever. But what I like about it, it's that is that you can start, creating those spaces, those conversations with local and I guess global, national community, but the local community getting to know each other and hopefully. I mean, it happens. It happens in these different spaces, like the these Facebook groups and forgetting the other things, those email exchanges or whatever.
Yeah, listserv type
Listservs, yeah.
Mhm.
But there's amazing. We have like graduations that our community leads. Is that Micheline who leads that? Is
So
that?
yeah,
And then there's the park day. I don't know who leads that, but
that's like a more of a group effort, but there's like a team that kind of does things, leads meetings, and kind of keeps things together.
And it's so cool. And if more people, like right now, I mean, at least in the beginning of COVID, I think, or this pandemic, it almost felt like there was a homeschool vibe everywhere. I saw like dads leading a bunch of kids, and there was just like I don't know, the beginning,
it
the
felt
middle.
Like it felt like we were back in the 70s, to be honest, because like kids were all around, like everyone was in the neighborhoods, in the parks, at the local spots. Usually it's a little more empty in the summer, and people are going away, and they're in this thing and that thing and this camp and that class, and it was just like everyone was just home and like out, and it felt like very old school to me. But then it also the kids were getting a little feral. Like it was like they were out and the parents were doing stuff and they were getting into things, and it was like feeling very homeschooly. That's kind of how homeschool kids are.
Yeah. 70s without the drugs, right? So it was.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
No, you know what I like about that? It's kind of when communities out in the streets and doing things, it makes it safer, I think, anyway. It feels people are engaging.
Yes.
I know, like, for example, the classes that I hold here, and as different families hold classes, but the classes I hold, the carpentry classes, which my kids don't take, but there's parents. Parents are welcomed, and I love when parents come and work with their kids, and they're around, so it feels safe. People may be concerned about like, whatever some classes. Your parents are welcomed. They should be welcomed in those spaces, and they're patrolling. I mean, sometimes I hear teachers now just cringing, like, oh my God, I don't want parents in my space,
Yeah.
But I get it. I think if you have protocol or some type of understanding, and if other parents can check each other, not to be a nuance or a pain in the butt, but it's super cool. I love when the parents come and they're like talking with you and I'm teaching or whatever. It's cool stuff.
It can make their kids, if their kids feel anxious or shy too, it can make the kids feel more comfortable to have the parents come in, at least in the beginning, and kind of it's like a group thing. It's almost like a family vibe,
Yeah.
Doesn't feel as segregated with the adults and the kids and the this and the that.
And all the services that are emerging from this, like getting older kids into certain areas, apprenticeship, internships, community colleges, work-based learning, all that stuff. I mean, I'm so excited. I mean, in my mind, I'm excited, and I hope something changes, because it's in my opinion, I mean, some parts work if you really work hard to get that space, and it's a lot of work to get it working right, and a lot of effort, and maybe some other things. But if we can have everyone have access to quality education that's humanizing again, and it has an authentic experience and leads to amazing people. Can you imagine a world like that?
It's quite revolutionary.
It is. And this is an opportunity that we haven't even seen. It's a silver lining for what's going on to kind of reinvent. So again, if you're running a pod, yeah, more power to you. But maybe it's an opportunity to reinvent something, maybe some aspects, and ask your kids what they want to learn. I talked to some parents, and a lot of the parents were making decisions for their kids.
Right.
Like we want this, we want that. And they were having meetings, and
It's
what if
hard not to do that because you're feeling like, as the adult, you know better and you know what they need to learn, and you're still looking at it from a system point of view of what they need to or should to at different grade levels. But if you take a step back and let the kids' interests lead in the beginning, they will get to where you want them to go. And then it's also important to think about, where is it that you want them to go? What do you want for them?
yes,
What's that long game? And then once you figure that out, then you think about how is the best way to get them there, right?
yeah.
So it's kind of a process.
I want my kid to be like 90 years old taking community college classes,
Yeah.
and
Always
they're
learning, lifelong learner.
lifelong learners, pursuing their passions, understanding what is education, controlling their education journey, and all that good stuff. Meeting, people and doing things.
Yes.
Uh, yeah,
Engage with their community, caring about their community and what's going on in the world, knowing what's going on in the world, educating themselves about everything. Those are the important things, and being happy and having choices. So you want them to be able to enter the future, whatever that is going to look like when they become of age, with choices, and to be able to adapt and learn what they need to learn to achieve what they want, so they can be happy ultimately, right? I think that's what we all want for our kids.
we got 3 minutes before we shut down. Is there
any last minute questions or comments?
I think Inbal said
we want it. Inbal says. Yes.
See if I missed any comments. You could give 3 minutes of.
Our kids started a garden, and I'm looking at it right now, and it's going off. It's so beautiful. Love to see the green everywhere, and they're really excited about it. They decided they wanted to do it. They made their lists of seeds they needed to get. I just drove to the nursery, and they put the soil in, they planted, they're watering it. It's all on them, and I'm really excited because they're taking ownership of this, and it's really awesome. Can't wait to harvest it.
I just remembered what I wanted to say.
Yes.
The pods, right? So if you have a panel of the kids, so you have your group of kids, and you just ask them to lead one aspect of their experience in a pod, right? Just one. Just let them lead it. See what happens. You can control the rest of it.
Right.
Just one aspect of it, and see what happens.
That's a good way to start if you're feeling nervous about the letting the kids lead thing. Is to start with just one thing. Yeah. Patrick said thanks, and Imbal said really appreciate what you're doing for all of us. P.S. Still have strawberries for tea. Yes, I forgot to pick up the strawberries.
Oh my God, you did? You made a big deal about that. You're like, well, I got to get the strawberries.
I know. I've been busy. There's no excuse. I'm gonna come get them. Thank you.
I would love to have a panel of students on here. We got 2 minutes.
That's one of the things I wanted to do too. Yes.
Have a panel of students here. Maybe some different voices.
Yeah, I want the young people to come up and talk. I want the young people's voices to be heard for sure.
Yeah, there's amazing people we know.
We know lots of amazing folks.
And so so we'll try to bring that to you guys once we get all set and ready to go. Once things settle down. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you everybody for joining, for watching. If you're watching the recording later, hope you enjoyed it. And we will do more. So stay cool, everybody.
Adios.
See you next time.